Hey, this is Anney.
And Samantha.
And welcome to Stuff I Never Told You, a production of iHeartRadio. And welcome to another edition of Happy Hour. As always, if you're choosing to drink or whatever you're choosing to do, please do so responsibly. Samantha, are you sipping on anything?
I'm going to drink on my sparkling strawberry watermelon water. That was a mouthful. Very delicious, very refreshing, and very bubbly.
Nice. I am drinking my light beer. I have a friend who brings this for me when she comes to hang over. And she had her boyfriend get it. And in the tradition of, and I say this with love in my heart, of boyfriends not understanding what you're asking for, he got glass bottles. So I haven't had beer out of a glass bottle in a long time.
I like how you started that sentence off too.
She told him, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's fine. I just haven't had beer out of a glass bottle in a long time. And because I broke my tooth on a weight, not on a beer bottle, by the way, several years ago.
Damn.
I dropped a weight on my face. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Hurt like hell.
That's a nightmare.
I don't like to drink out of glass anymore. I'm just worried I'll break my replacement tooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's beer. I'm going to drink it. And I'll be careful.
Do you not want to put it in a glass?
I'm worried about glasses too. I prefer
Do you need me to get you a sippy cup for beer?
You got me a sippy cup for wine.
I know. Now I need to find you a sippy cup for beer. Okay. I got a mission, y'all.
I'm just really like that experience because I broke my tooth on Easter.
Yeah.
Everything was closed. And I was in Dahlonega, where I'm from. And it's a small town. Everybody was over because it was Easter. And so I had to walk downstairs with my front tooth broken and ask everyone to move their cars so I could go to an emergency dentist like 40 minutes away.
See, I have broken my teeth. Well, no, not broken my teeth. I have broken my teeth. I have broken teeth now. But I've also lost caps because I have some of the worst teeth ever. Honestly, growing up, I had to go to specialists because my teeth were so bad. Orphanage kid, you know. But I would just wait. I've never done an emergency. I don't think I even thought that was an option for some odd reason.
They didn't speak English. They only spoke Russian.
Okay, all right.
And I'd never gotten anything like, I'd never had a cavity or anything. So they were like, they got this big needle and they're like, yes. I'm like, oh God, I don't know.
So they're trying to tell how much sedation and like, oh, wow. To be fair, like the whole breaking on glass, I get that because I've definitely hurt myself. I'm like, ow, like on hard surfaces in general. If I'm like eating something wrong, like forks even, like, so that's legitimate. Like I'm not kicking on that. Like that's definitely a thing. I've done that. I'm like, I've hurt myself pretty hard with straws.
Oh, like the metal straws?
And just other plastic straws.
Wow.
They go into many orifices. Anyway, keep going.
Oh my goodness me.
Accidentally.
Sure.
This has gotten off topic. Really? Anyway, keep going. I'm fine. It's fine. Everything's just fine here.
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes, because this is coming out on Thanksgiving. And I had like a million different ideas I wanted to talk about. One of them was my most infamous Thanksgivings, but I have decided not to do that. One of the things I did want to discuss, that was something you and I were talking about, Samantha, that I have been experiencing a lot, is what I've learned is called temporal disintegration. It means you don't know what day it is. You don't know what time it is.
We've been talking about this a lot.
We have. And apparently, I knew this was true, but apparently it became a big topic of conversation during COVID, during like lockdown. People staying home more. They didn't have these, like maybe you had a weekly trivia night or something. They didn't have those things that told them what the day was. Also, it gets worse with trauma or stress. So during a pandemic, got worse. A lot of us moved online. Like we were doing a lot of stuff online. That was where we maybe found our hobby or the distraction or whatever it is. And I would say for us specifically, the nature of our jobs, I work on the weekend a lot and I'm not necessarily supposed to. We just have very flexible schedules. So I've literally woken up and had no idea.
Right.
It could be Wednesday. It could be Saturday. I don't know. And I feel like it's gotten a lot worse for me lately. And this, with all the holidays coming up, it's been interesting because it's like, oh my God, that's tomorrow. Like,
yeah.
Oh no.
Girl, did I mention to you how I was in one of my dance classes / stuff, and a co-dance friend of mine was like, we were trying to debate when Thanksgiving was and why people weren't there, and I was like, yeah, Thanksgiving is next week. She's like, no, it's 2 weeks. And I was like, no, it's next week. And we had to battle it out, and like you could see throughout the next like routine, both of us were calculating who was right because we were both panicking
Right.
to figure out which day was which week was actually Thanksgiving. BT dubs, I was right.
Didn't she leave?
She left. She left early. I think she left early in a panic with like, oh my God, I have less than a week. So yeah.
Yeah. I had to remind a friend. She was like, can I come over that day? And I was like, no, I will be at home. She's like, what? Why? Oh my God. So I think we are all struggling with it. I think especially women and marginalized people who are really impacted by this election are struggling with it. But I've had it really bad. And it's been strange to me because I've said it before, I am really good with dates and times. I have a great memory for this. It's one of the reasons I have so many traditions is that for me, I feel like I can mark the passage of time. So this has been kind of a disconcerting revelation for me, where I literally could not tell you. A couple days ago, I woke up and it was Sunday and I thought it was Tuesday. Like, I just don't know. I don't know. And it also, like, the nature of our jobs is sometimes recordings move. So that used to help me too, is like, I know it's Tuesday because we record on this day, or I know, but it can be wildly all over the place. So I feel like I've lost a lot of my like structures that I had.
Right.
So don't know anymore.
I have completely become dependent on my cell phone, to figure out the times. And when we have like daylight savings time or all of that, I don't trust it and have to go around, look everywhere and look at my like stationary clocks to see if that, because I don't know if it's actually true. And it freaks me out because it automatically dates. So for a good day, I don't believe my phone, which throws me off even more.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been noticing that too, is that, again, I never used to really have this problem before, but I think because I'm staying in way more than I used to stay in, because it gets dark so early, it just feels like the days bleed together to me. So I'm like, I don't know. Did I do yesterday? I can't remember. That's another part of temporal disintegration, though, is that you have more of a struggle remembering what happened the previous day than if you weren't dealing with it, which I have noticed as well, where I have to, like, every morning I try to remind myself, what did you do yesterday?
Right.
This.
I give up. Because like it's kind of like when we're in the middle of recording and I'm like, did we clap? Which for listeners, I'll peek behind the curtain. I really forgot, like, one of the ways we sync our audio is clapping. And both of us count down and then clap and then do the introduction. Most of the time, by the time we're 10 minutes into an episode, 5 minutes into an episode, I'm like, did we do this? And I'm having to really think straight and hard, and I still can't fully remember if we actually did that. And I've questioned it a few times. I've questioned it enough times that I'm like, Samantha, you've lost your mind. Stop talking.
Well, and that's the other thing though, is like we've been doing this in our apartment or our house for 4 years now. And it's like every time we do it. So it just feels very repetitive. So you're not necessarily taking it in when you do it. But I've gotten the same way too. And it's also interesting because I've noticed it with friends who are experiencing temporal disintegration, where they'll text me something. I'm like, I swear you already texted me this. Am I losing my mind or are you losing your mind? And then I'll look back through the text. I'm like, yes, a month ago you texted me this.
A month ago. That's rude because you can't remember. You can't expect me to remember something.
It was
a month
you.
Later, Anney.
No.
How dare you?
It was just so funny because like this happened like 2 days ago. I swear we've already had this exact conversation. We had. So if anyone is feeling this, you are not alone. I am feeling it very strongly right now. And usually I've talked about this before in my like tradition episodes. Like I said, usually I'm pretty good at like, I know this is coming and this is coming and this is coming, but I'm going through it right now, listeners. The stress has got me. I was trying to come up with a topic for this episode that wasn't too serious because everything I was thinking of, I was like, not now.
Not now.
Soon, but not now.
Right.
And one of the topics I came up with was the rise of dinner party horror movies. And I actually found a really interesting article about it. It was linking it to the pandemic once again. These have always been around, like they're not new, but it was linking the fear, more fear we have of these hangouts, of these dinner parties to the pandemic in terms of a lot of us still we feel like we don't know how to be anymore. We don't know how to do the small talk in a way that's not really awkward, if we ever could, but now we really feel like we can't. We don't know how to hang out anymore. I actually found a whole book that I want to read about like the power of hanging out and why it's bad that none of us can do it anymore. But that's a really simplification of the book. Yes, but I was interested by it because I definitely have experienced it. But it was also, the article was also talking about like the author was really interested in how, I think the number was 50%. 50% of the people she interviewed were dreading like celebrations that should be fun. I'm not even talking about your like family ones that a lot of us dread, but like I'm talking about like the ones that should be fun, and viewing them as obligations, and just being so anxious about them. But also I was thinking about food in horror movies and how a lot of times it's used to represent consuming women, because women are, like in advertising especially, frequently represented as something to be consumed. And we do have a suggested horror movie coming up that we're going to talk about that is about that. At least in part. So look forward to that. And I'll have more thoughts about that. Oh, if you're like me, then you're like, yes. But I'm sure some of you are like, oh, no.
Talking about dread.
That's fair. I mean, if it's not for you, it's not for you. I've been kind of thinking about, I know we've talked about this before, but on the show 13 Days of Halloween, most of the things that I've written for that have been food related in some way. And the first one I did, which was called I called Red Velvet, but in the show is called something else. It was about, I wrote it in high school, and it was about a really bad experience I had at the gynecologist, and me, the character, dealing with the what she was feeling and wondering if her mom felt the same way. I feel like that's, if you listen to it on the surface level, you won't get that, but it's there. And now with everything going on with abortion and stuff, I'm like, I kind of want to revisit it, and maybe we can play it on here. But it was also about like the horror of food. So happy. I hope you had a great meal.
I mean, I wonder if part of this is because people have been talking a lot about Friendsgiving, which is a huge phenomenon to the point that like industries and corporations want in on it, or trying to bank on it and try to make money off of it. And like I have seen recently about a lot of people even using this as, yes, a horror trope, but also as a like horror of being left out of it. Which, by the way, I have not been invited to a one. And in the last few years, it's dwindled down already. So I'm feeling some type of way. At the same time, I don't want to be invited because I don't want to come out. So it's one of those things. But all those things, like, it brings dread in every form. Whether you are invited, you're not invited, you are hosting, or you're bringing food.
Yes.
There's so much.
Yes. And I was looking at, I found like top 10 lists of the best dinner party horror movies. And I mean, they all make the point. It's pretty obvious, but it's like, you go to this event, you're kind of trapped in it for a couple hours. And there's usually power dynamics or relationship dynamics or something, like, so maybe somebody starts a fight, or like maybe these two don't get along. Like, there's just a lot of volatility.
We had one time, like one Friendsgiving I missed out, in which of someone's partner, which nobody really knew, decided he needed to do a giant prayer to a bunch of atheists.
Oh, no.
Yes. And that was the story I heard. I was like, what? I'm kind of sad I missed this. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I think I would have probably made it worse. But because my face can't hide the initial. If I'm not prepared for something, like if I didn't know this was coming, my face and my immediate be like, what the would have come out of my mouth, I think. But at the same time, I'm like, I love seeing drama as long as I'm not part of the drama. But yeah, stuff like that. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting to me how, like, there's the horror aspect and then there's the super awkward comedy aspect of dinner parties. The Office episode comes to mind, infamous. And today I was watching the newest episode of What We Do in the Shadows, which Sex and the City plays a large part of it, by the way. Yes. And it was a dinner party that I was like, oof. So clearly it feels like a risk. You're like, I hope nothing awful and awkward happens at this party, even if it's your friends.
Especially if it's your friends, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's true. Well, I hope everyone's doing about as well as they can be right now. I hope you had some good food, or you're getting some good relaxation, or whatever.
Or at least
taking care of yourself.
Delicious dessert or good drinks. One of the two. Both.
Yeah. Yes. We are grateful for you. Yeah. Thank you for being here. If you have any recipes you want to share, because I almost made this a recipe episode as well. Any dinner party horror movies you want to share, or any thoughts about temporal disintegration.
The grab bag of topics here. Let's go.
Yeah. Yes. Please let us know. You can email us at stephanie@momstuff@iheartmedia.com. You can find us on Twitter at momstuffpodcast, or on Instagram and TikTok at Stuff One Never Told You. We're also on YouTube. We have a TeePublic store, and we have a book you can get wherever you get your books. Thanks, as always, to our super producer, Christina, our executive producer, Maya, and our contributor, Joey.
Thank you.
And thanks to you for listening. Stuff I Never Told You is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, you can check out the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.